Being Productive Mind Map is actually a Freemind document. If you want to go and have a look into the document library for instructions on how to look at Freemind, just do a quick search for Freemind and you'll find it. Now, just by the way, if you do want to print this out, there's a couple of things. You can just print it, or you can go to File, Export, and you can then save it as either a picture or a PDF. Most of the things in this document are actually pretty self-explanatory, but I just wanted to go through particularly the mindset and the focus sections just to flesh them out a little bit. So firstly, Pareto's rule, we talk about that a lot in the Podiatry Hive. What are the 20% of tasks that are going to get you your 80% of results? Focus on those. Do the important tasks, not the urgent tasks. It's a really clear distinction here. Is it important, or is it just urgent and not important? Start with the end in mind. What is your actual end goal of any particular task that you are going to take on? So start with the end in mind so that you can actually get there quicker. Journaling is a habit that is one of the things that I believe will increase your productivity the most out of any of the things that you could potentially do. And I put the habit because it's sometimes a little bit tricky to start journaling. It has to become a habit, and all it has to be is focusing a little bit on what you want for 2 to 5 minutes each day and writing it down, because again, the faintest ink is stronger than the strongest thought. Okay, unnecessary decisions. There are a whole heap of things that you don't need to make a decision on. They say that there's only 6 proper decisions that you have the headspace to make in any particular day. So stop making the unnecessary ones. Stop making decisions about, okay, what do I have to wear? What do I have to put on my feet? All of those things. David Attenborough was a great one for doing this. He had a whole career where he wore those cream pants and the blue shirt. He didn't ever have to make any decision on what he was going to wear. Talk about the stop doing list. What are the things that you could potentially delegate? What are you doing that is not actually being productive in terms of moving you towards the goals that you want to get in your practice? And have a great respect for time. Be a time Nazi. Don't let people suck time out from you. If you respect time, people will respect your time. And again, getting it started, don't try and get it perfect the first time. There's a great fear that people have of not being perfect, and that's what this is all about. Just starting it. It's much easier to edit something than it is to create something. So start it, get the first draft done, and then you can go back and edit it later on. The other area that I want to flesh out a bit was mindset. And so visualizing, again, taking it back to your big picture goal. There's a whole series of videos and a book by Brian Tracy called Eat That Frog. And eating the frog is about tackling that task that you're procrastinating about, that you don't really feel like you want to do, and getting it done first. So eat the frog, get that thing out of the way first. Having confidence in fast decisions. So there are a whole heap of major, minor and medium decisions that you could possibly be making. And sometimes we agonize over the minor decisions. And in fact, most of the decisions that we have to make are minor, and we shouldn't be agonizing over them. Things like where you're going to locate your podiatry practice is a big decision, and you should take time over that. The color of your website is a minor decision. So have confidence in just making it quickly and knowing that if you don't get it quite right, then it doesn't really matter in the end. Stop milking the cow. Talk about that as the low value tasks that you potentially might be doing. Somebody else could be doing that. And in fact, stop even learning how to do it. You don't need to be an expert in Google price per click advertising or social media marketing or a whole heap of other things that you might be learning about which aren't driving your podiatry practice to the end goal. And create a third space and spend some time in your third space. What I mean by that is it's a concept that was written about by a guy called Dr. Adam Fraser. And if you want to go and have a look at that, it's a really interesting book. Search for The Third Space by Dr. Adam Fraser. And really, it's quite helpful in a practice situation. If you can create even a physical space, or it can be just a mental space for yourself to hop in between one patient and the next, because sometimes an appointment, they happen, that's not so good, it makes you flustered, there's a really bad atmosphere in the treating room, and so if you carry that on to the next appointment, it can be really destructive. And so if you can then get in the habit of creating this third space in between those kind of appointments where you can have a space to kind of reflect on what just happened, and then a bit of a rest from that, and then a reset to say, look, how am I going to show up for the next space? And it actually helps, I think, if you just make that a physical corner of the treatment room before you see that next patient. So mindset, productivity, the other really helpful one. And I think the other ones are kind of a little bit more self-explanatory. Doing one thing and just having one project at a time. I know that if you have a whole list of things, there's the whiteboard technique, where if you have your whiteboard and you have your big list on one side, then flip it over and just write one thing in front of you that you're trying to achieve. But even if it's just one thing for a particular day outside of treating patients, don't try and clog up your goals with too many things to do. Just work out what is the most important and try and get that done. That then feeds a little bit into daily planning, making sure that you actually have it written down. And meeting agendas. If you don't have a purpose for a meeting, there's no purpose for the meeting. There's no actual reason to have it. So keep that in mind, and getting your team into a routine will help with your productivity. I think there's a couple on technology. So the technology ones, limit checking your email, and I absolutely, if you can get that down to 2 times a day, then you'll stop wasting a lot of time on email, because email is something that's convenient for the person who's sending you email. They're sending it at the time that's convenient for them, not convenient for you. So make it the time that's convenient for you, and only at certain times. If you don't understand it, don't respond. And follow this delete, delegate, respond, defer, do system for your email. As it comes in, either delete it if it's not important. If somebody else has responsibility for it, send it to them. You can respond to it if you can do it within a couple of minutes. Defer it, archive it, put it into a specific folder, get it out of your inbox. The idea with email is to get your inbox empty, and that you have a particular folder for actions. And so follow that. You can look at Pete Moriarty's webinar on Inbox Zero, which is really helpful in the members area. Tune out the news. I'm a really big fan of a guy called Alain de Botton, and he's written a book called The News, A User's Manual, and the book is about all of the things that the psychological impacts that the news actually has on us, and the concern, the worry. It's one of those things that, is it really adding any value to your life? And I would say, well, probably minimal, and it's taking up your headspace, taking up your time. Another key with the phone. On my iPhone, I have a little setting which says do not disturb, and I can actually schedule that to not receive calls from people within certain hours each day. And so if I want to have a block out, I can block that out to do not disturb at a particular time and not have to take calls. And if there's people ringing your phone and you don't recognize the number, don't pick it up. Look, that's the job for the person who answers the phone in the practice. It's not your job to do that. Utilize your CRM to the full potential. Look, everybody is guilty of this. CRMs have so much functionality and the ability to actually systemize and automate things. And so even just SMS reminders for appointments, automatic responders to people who fill in stuff on your website, anything that can be automated and followed up needs to be done. There's so much power generally in your CRM to do that. And I think the physical ones are fairly self-explanatory. Do the activity. See if you can get time within your day, particularly if you're feeling flagging, to do a little bit of that stretching or jumping or dancing or whatever you happen to like to get your energy levels back up so you can be more productive. Get some adequate sleep, and don't be afraid to have that little nanodat to increase your your productivity and give you a bit of a recharge. It only needs to be a few minutes really to get your brain working again. So that's a bit of a quick explanation of all the areas. Again, if you need to print this out, go to the print menu or export it as a PDF and print.